Hello, hello, hello. So, I guess I was trying to do this with the, trying to have my phone off so we wouldn't get calls interrupting us. But I guess I'm not able to do this. I'm trying to put the flight mode on so that I won't have calls interrupting the live video. But I tried to do that and it didn't work. So I guess we will be interrupted by phone calls. They will soon start coming in. But I hope you all are having a beautiful Saturday. I am home and I have some free time. I've been very busy working on the Heroes Award. I am still busy working on the Heroes Award because I'm expecting some guests from outside of the Gambia. So busy sending invitations, making confirmations, trying to make sure that they confirm. Because we are trying to not make the Heroes Award only a Gambian event. At some point, we will see how we can include people who are outside of the country and to not only make it a Gambian award. Of course, I am proud to be Gambian, and I am happy that this initiative is being put together by Gambians. Everybody that's working on the awards are all Gambians, but we are trying to have at least more people involved, especially from the sub-region, not outside of Africa, but in Africa. So I wanted to come out here and talk a little bit. It's been a long time since I did Facebook Live. I don't usually do it now. As you get busy, there are a few things you're not able to do anymore because, of course, they'll be overtaken by events. Running a media house, even though I am not there physically, I have very able staff, very good staff who take care of that, but I am now more focused on my PR work and also taking care of the kids and all that. So you can see it's a lot of work to be able to be everywhere. And recently, of course, I started the 60 Minutes with FATU just because I have some downtime in Gambia. And I decided before sitting at home and not doing much, it would be nice to use that time and do something productive. That's why I'm doing the show right now. But of course, it's just going to be for a little bit. And when it's time to go back to the kids, I will not be able to do it because I don't like doing interviews via Skype or Zoom. They're usually not very interesting when you do them like that. Che, I bought this thing, this tripod, is the phone at the house, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm still holding the phone, even though I bought a tripod. So I'm going to be speaking in English, in Mandinka, and of course in Wolof, so that everyone can understand what I'm trying to say. I know most of the time when I have my interviews done in Mandinka and Wolof, I have a lot of people saying, oh, can you say them? Can you say it in English? Can you do interviews in English? But we cannot have every person that we invite speak English or ask them to speak Mandinka or Wolof. We usually talk to them in languages that they're very comfortable in. So most of the time, it's not us who choose the language. We have to listen to the person we're interviewing and then make them feel comfortable. Because what's important is for the information to come out. And for that to happen, we have to be flexible with them and let them speak in a language that they're very comfortable with. Elijah, you're right. Local, I don't even know how to open this. I bought this tripod thing, the Fora Ibide, and I was reading the box. How much I didn't go Ibide. So yes, first what I want to talk about is the media contract. I am sure you all have heard about it. And there is a lot of false information being peddled around. And me talking to you here is not to convince anybody. Because like the saying that Jamme used to say, I don't like to use enemy and hater. Like I said, I do not believe in those words, that there are enemies and there are haters. I don't believe in them. But they would say when you dance, even in water, your enemy would say you're raising dust. So I am not speaking to convince those people because I know there are certain people whatever you say, they would never see any positive in it because they do not listen to you with an open mind. If you already have an agenda, no matter what I say, it will definitely not mean much to you because you already have your mind made up. So I am not trying to convince anybody, but I'm trying to speak to those people who believe in me, those people who believe in us, the FATU network, those people who have trust in us, those people who have confidence in us. Those are the people that I am talking to. Those people who believed us since 2008 when the FATU show started. Those people who believed in us when the FATU radio started in the US in 2014. And to those people who believed in us when we started working on the struggle, when I went to exile and joined the struggle, up to this time, I am talking to those people because I know they have an open mind and I know they would listen to me. So yes, we signed a contract with the government of the Gambia, and it is nothing that we're hiding. Those people who are close to me, those people that I talk to every day, know about this contract because I spoke to all of them about it. And I do not believe, and I don't think that anybody who's been signing media contracts most of the time for every media house would come out and say, oh, I signed with this person. Sometimes we do, but it's not all the time. I have few contracts, but it's not every contract that I go out there and say, oh, I signed with this person, oh, I did this. But I just want to say that that contract, the information that is being peddled, that is going to shut our mouths, that we are going to be dictated, that is going to affect our editorial policy, that is false information. If dictatorship did not silence us, there is nothing that can silence us. Yes, $5 million is a lot of money, but this is money that I do make in PR work outside of the country. It's not once, it's not twice, it's not 3 times. In fact, even more than that. And this is for a whole year. And when we do PR work, mostly, especially if it's for elections and stuff, it's only for a few months. Maybe for 2 months or 3 months, you get paid that much. So I understand. I'm not saying it's not a lot of money. It is a huge amount of money. It is a lot everywhere you go. But in media business, it's expensive. Media business is expensive as well. So I just want everybody to know that. So when we were told that, that the government is interested in working with media houses, we had a meeting with them. And the first meeting we had was with the Chief of Staff. And the Chief of Staff made it categorically clear. And at some point I was like, but why is he telling us this? I said that to myself because I'm like, you know, people don't trust the media. So they invited us and he said to us, the first thing the Chief of Staff said was, I did not call you here because the government wants to control the media. We do not want to do that. We don't want any part of that. He made that clear to us. And we said to him, well, we also not allow anybody to corrupt us or to use our media networks for their own benefit. We also would not accept that. And then he said, well, then we are on the same page because that's also not our agenda. And it is very clear that that is not their agenda. I do meet with President Barrow. We met a few times, but each time we meet, he would make that clear. I am not trying to have any media onto my side. I'm not trying to lure anybody or push anybody to get them to support my agenda. That is not my mission, and it would never be my mission. The president had made that clear many times. And anybody who knows FATU CAMARA would know one thing, that nobody can silence me or can silence me. That is never going to happen. Anybody who knows me knows that. And I think this is why sometimes when people are working with me or they're about to work with me, the first thing they would tell me when I walk into a meeting is, this is not because we want to silence the media, because they know nobody can silence me. Yes, we do know that politics plays in everything. And each time there's a situation, especially with the government, everybody would jump. the opposition will jump and make comments. That is normal. You know, even though we know some of it, it's not out of a good place. But that is propaganda. And that is what the opposition does. They would go after the government. When the National Assembly members, when the government or the National Assembly was buying those cars for them, I was one of those people that came out and said, but why are you taking all this money to buy cars when we have other areas to focus on? And exactly the same situation came when we had this contract. People came out and others were like, oh, but you know, we're worried because there's a situation, the country is suffering. The country has always been like this. When the coalition government was here, when those who were speaking today were in government, but contracts were being signed, if we are to be honest to each other. Contracts were being signed, and the situation was even worse at that time because Jammeh left, and we were told that when he left, he took all the money with him. We were told that there was no money left. But those in government at that time were buying cars. They were buying cars for their children. They were buying homes for their children. They were doing stuff for their children. We know about it. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying you do not have a right to speak about the contract. You can if you want to. But what I'm trying to say, the information that they're making you all believe, the information that they're peddling around, that this is to silence the media, that is false. There's no truth to it. If there's anybody that wants to silence the media, it's the opposition. They have actually divided us, the opposition. They have divided the media as to our media and their media. But everybody knows that we are here for all of them. But they decided to put a wedge. This is ours, this is theirs. Even though we do not want to be in the trap. I am the owner of FATU Network. I'm the founder, I am the CEO, but I do not run the FATU Network. Most of the time, I see everything on the page at the same time as you all. I see everything at the same time as you all, because I have other things to do. I mean, media, there's no money in media. Everybody knows that. There's no money in media work. So if I am to be at FATU Network looking at who writes what is the news, who said what, who did what, I will not be able to pay my staff. This is why I have 2 Gambian editors. I said, this is up to you. The work is here. I am going to go out there and make money so I'm able to pay you and buy the equipment that you need, buy the fuel for the cars and everything, but I will let you all run FATU Network. I do not run it. So they would say, okay, they're paying these people this money to control them. If maybe I was there and if I have had a say in the editorial policy of the FATU Network, my staff, maybe they're watching me right now. I have 2 editors. Anybody can ask them if there is any day that I call them on the phone or write them a letter and say, oh, this is FATU CAMARA, I want to tell you, oh, the light, that's the light blinking like that. I've never called them or write to them to say, hello, this is FATU. I want to tell you that cover Barrow stories like this, cover UDP stories like this, cover my FATI stories like this. It has never happened. And I hired those people because I believe in them. I believe that they would never accept that kind of situation from me because they are professionals. Me calling Hadram to tell him, don't publish this or don't do this, you think he will take that lightly? Me calling Sering, telling him, Sering, bulbinda bide, bahil bi. I mean, that is disrespect. That would be disrespectful, actually, to them and also on my side. I have never involved myself in the editorial policy of the FATU Network, and I have never called any of my staff, they're all watching me right now, to say, don't cover this, don't cover that. What I always tell them is that make sure we're fair to everyone. Let's be fair to everyone in the country, politicians, whoever. If you have a story on someone, make sure it's balanced. Make sure you get both sides of the story. This is what I always tell them. And I have this feeling that any day I ask them to do something that they don't want to do, they would resign. I believe that. And being in the struggle, you know, the past years, when we were fighting against dictatorship, I had lots of meetings with organizations that work with the media outside of the Gambia. And I know what that job entails. And I know what it means if a media owner is talking to their staff, telling them what to publish and what to not to publish. I know what that means, because if there is a situation, it is going to get back to those people, like all these organizations that work with the media. And if that happens, they will call me out. And there's nothing that's worth it for me. So what the government paid for is airtime. It is just like we're doing with UNA, we're doing with everybody else, because now even if you request for coverage, we will ask you to provide transportation. That is because we do not have money. The media does not have any money. To buy equipment, we will buy one camera, at least, if it's a cheap small camera, is $3,500. Microphones, lights, everything that we buy. Each time I go to, what's this place called, B&H in New York, you spend at least, if it is cheap, $17,000 to $18,000. There was this time, it was Alaji Manka who helped me out and said, but you know, your cameras, you only use them for news. Why do you have to buy brand new cameras? And then he introduced me to a company called Adorama. Adorama sells used cameras. I started buying from them. So instead of buying a camera, a new small camera for $3,500, I can now buy a good camera, used one, for maybe $6,000. I can have two cameras. Alaji Manka introduced me to them. So that's where I shop now most of the time. So, yes, media work is expensive. When you call us for coverage now, we want you to provide your own transportation for us to be there. And if you want us, if you're for instance, a bank, we would ask you to pay for airtime, because we cannot promote you and then give all of that to you for free. And another thing that we do, for instance, if you want to buy airtime and you say, okay, I want a 20 minutes talk show, we signed one with SOS, Children's Village, you'll see them soon on the FATU network, we send them a bill to come and talk, because that's the money that we would use to buy fuel for our cars. I think the FATU network has 3 cars. We would use part of that money to buy fuel. We'll use part of that money, cash power we have to buy, we have to pay the staff, and all of that. So nothing at FATU network is free. I do that, for instance, education. If there's something on education, on religion, I usually would run those free. But apart from that, everything else would have to be paid for. So what the government wants is airtime. They're going to be producing their own videos. We are not going to write anything for them. We are not going to be speaking for them. All they would be doing, they would bring a video. We will be produced by Fandema and Sparkling. I met them during the meetings, of course. They are a production house. They've been producing documentaries, and they've been producing drama and all that kind of short videos and advertisements. So they're the production company. They will produce, for instance, government will say, we want Hakaland Road to show today. They will go to Hakaland Road and shoot videos and bring it to us and say, here it is, the finished product. And FATU Network will say, this is a paid-for program, and we will run it. This is what we're doing for the government. They have not asked us to write and say they are the best. They have not asked us to do shows and say we're the best. They only ask us to play a video that they are going to give to us, which will be edited by a production company, and we will just air. This is what we're doing for them. They would say, okay, we have an event, the OIC, we want you to cover it. So rather than me using my own money to buy fuel to go to their coverage, buying internet, paying Gumtel to provide me with fiber to go to their coverage, now that is prepaid. So now when they have an event, even if it's going to be in Fatoto, I will have to pay for it now. I would tell my staff, okay, your night allowance is here. The internet is paid for. Anna Motobi will do the fueling. Now go to Fatoto. Our client have a program there. Go and cover it. We're not going to go there to speak for them. We're going to cover what they say. And that's what we're going to show. And this we can do for anybody. For instance, if the opposition contacted us and said, we want to buy airtime, go ahead. That's what we'll tell them. These are our rates. And they would ask for a discount. We will talk about it and we'll air it. So please do not listen to those peddling those information. FATU Network will be here for you. We'll be doing exactly what we've been doing for you. We'll be very professional. I do not write the news. I do not make the decision when it comes to the editorial policy. That is in the hands of Hadram is in the hands of setting. If you see anything that you think is not what it is, please write to them or let me know. And I would ask them, I'll say, how did this happen? These two are professionals that would do their job to the best of their ability without taking any instructions from me. The reason why I hired them is because I believe in them. And I believe that they'll be able to make a decision on their own and make sure that whatever decision that they take is in the best interest of the country and the people of the Gambia, of course. So some people have a problem with the way that the contract was given. Why did they give some? Why did they give some? That I would not be able to help you with. I am sure the government will be able to answer that. But there is no foul play here. There's nothing to be worried about here. Media everywhere would need money to run. BBC is semi-autonomy, but they do receive money from the government. NPR in the US receive money. Guardian now would say they would lock some of their stories. You have to pay to read them. We cannot do that. We were getting money from Facebook. Then now Facebook said, oh, Gambia is in an ineligible country. I think the only eligible country in Africa is South Africa. Oh, the lights. The only eligible country in Africa is South Africa. All the other countries, sometimes what they do is to use VPN. If you use VPN, for instance, if you're a FATU network and you have all your admins here, at some point one person will forget to put the VPN on and they would know that we're definitely not in the US, we're in the Gambia. So we're not receiving any money from Facebook. The money we were receiving from Google for Google AdSense, that used to be a good amount. And then after COVID, that actually died down. Before, if you used to have maybe $2,000 a month or $3,000, now you're getting less than $1,000 a month. And that's what Google and both Google and YouTube would pay. Facebook is no longer paying. TikTok is not paying in Gambia. They're paying people outside of the country because, again, we are in an ineligible country. Ineligible country means that most of the adverts, for instance, if they put a Walmart advert in your video, you would definitely, I mean, who would see that? Who goes to Walmart in Gambia? So this is the reason why they took us out. We would have to survive. And one way we survive is getting money, ad money. So we see that when it was put in the newspaper, of course, editors like to put big headlines to promote government's agenda. And that got everybody angry. And I understand your situation. I understand your frustrations. If it was me, maybe I would feel the same way. But that information is false. It's not true. I have the contract here. After I saw that headline, I had to go back and read. And the PS never said that. I spoke to Lamin Cham, and he said, oh, the PS told me that. The PS, what he said was not to promote government agenda. No, they said there's this access to information that we have. Everything in that contract, I have it right here. I had to read it again to see whether it would be a part that would say everything other than what we signed for. What it is, we want people to have access to information. We want people to know what we're doing. It's like we're doing a lot of things, but the people do not know it. We want to reach out to them. We want them to know this is what it is. But of course, when you write something, you write it like that so that you can have everybody's attention. The Standard is owned by a very good brother of mine, Sirif Bojang. He's more than a friend. He's a brother. But if you read the Standard newspaper, on the front page, you have the GRA advertisements. That's how they're making money. Whether adverts are from government or they're from parastatals, if you tell me that if government gives you money, I'm not able to write about them, but how about parastatals? If GRA gives you advertisement, can you write about them? For instance, if they do something that's not right, would you be able to report that? If GPPA gives you advertisement, would you be able to report when they do something that's maybe not the right thing to do? So, I mean, I understand the frustrations again. I understand it very well. And I understand 5 million, everybody would want to have 5 million. But the government giving us 5 million does not mean that the fairness will not be fixed. We are also a business. We're paying taxes. The FATU network, the amount of money we paid in taxes, I had to ask GRA, I said, but why are we paying this much? It was the last time that somebody told me, oh, because we do audited accounts. I send my bank statements. And then now somebody said, it's based on your bank statement. And I understand the mistake I've been making is putting the PR pay into that same FATU network account. And this is why when I pay tax, it's always very high. And I can say that Gambian media, I'm not sure about TVs, but when it comes to online media, I can say I pay the most taxes. I'll say that anywhere. And when that person told me it's the bank statement, that's when I realized that the PR money, I've always been putting that money into my bank account at EcoBank. So that's how when they see that bank statement, that's when my taxes are always very high. But yes, we need that money. We need that money to run our business. But they are not going to silence us. I believe, like I said, the ones that are ready to silence us is the opposition. The ones that already put a wedge. And they're the ones that silent a certain number of media houses because they control them. But everybody knows that nobody can control FATU Network. And government, I'm glad they did not even try to do that. Because each time I meet with the president, that's the first thing he always tells me. We're not trying to control anybody. And the chief of staff said the same thing. I guess because they know that nobody can control the FATU Network. And I'm sure it will be the same for the other media houses that are here. I cannot speak for them because I don't know who controls their editorial media, their editorial policy. So I wanted to put this out there to assure you all that we are going to be here. When we started the 60 Minutes, after one interview, I contacted lawyer Ousainou Darboe to interview him. He did not pick the call. It is fine. Maybe he was busy. I called the person who gave me the number. I have an open mind. I don't have a bad mind to say, oh, no, maybe he's angry. No, he did not pick. Maybe he was busy. I called the person back and said, oh, I called him 2-3 times. He didn't pick. He said, oh, I actually reached him, but he said he was very busy today. He left his phone somewhere. I said, oh, I understand. Politicians are very busy people. I called Almami Tal. Oh, Almami, you are the spokesperson. I'm trying to have lawyer Ousainou Darboe to interview him. Almami said, okay, no problem. In fact, I'm going to see him right now, and I will tell him after Juma. I said, okay. Almami left. He never gotten back to me until today. I called him. He sent a message. I'll call you back. Until today, he hasn't called back. Who is trying to silence the media? It is not the government. So, I mean, we got to be fair. And we put insults and being negative and not having an open mind. We put all of those aside and face the reality and say the facts. I reached out to Talib's office through his PR and said I would want to have an interview with him if he's free. The PR said, oh, he's going to the US. When he comes back, we would see. No problem. I contacted Rohi Malik Lo. Hello, Rugilo, sumamak, damalabuga interview. He said, okay, I'm going to, I think, Ethiopia or somewhere. He said, when I return, I would get back to you. So we are not trying to segregate anybody or trying to be on anybody's side. We contacted everyone. When we interviewed Alhaji Mahamadou Kurang, this contract was already signed. We asked him. He even mentioned a government official's name and said, oh, it was the secretary to cabinet that told me that we need to stop the sales and this and this. He said stuff about the government. We did not edit anything. We aired him. And even every day you read FATU Network, there are stories there that are not favorable to Gambia. Now, we are not going to attack the government just because we want to prove a point. We are not going to do that. But if they do something that is not right, or there is some news that is happening is not favorable to them, we're going to report it. As long as that news is not sensitive to the point that it is going to bring an instability in the country, or is going to affect a minor, or is going to do anything that's against the ethics of journalism, that is the only time that we'll be sensitive to those news stories, and we may not air them. But apart from that, we will air. So, this is the situation. We're not anybody who wants to come to FATU Network anytime, whether you are UDP or you are GDP or you are PPP or you are NPP, any other piece, you're always welcome to come. I can assure you that nobody will tell you that FATU has asked us to not cover your story, even though anytime UDP has a press conference, they never tell us. But if I check Almami Tal's wall and I see it, my staff are watching. I take a screenshot of it and send it to our FATU Network WhatsApp group and say, hey, UDP has a press conference. Please make sure you're there. The last time I saw lawyer Ousainou Darboe was speaking, I contacted Hadram. I said, I saw lawyer Ousainou Darboe was on Facebook. Can you listen to what he's saying and see what we can make out of it for the news, for the FATU Network? We do not have anything against any political party. But if they don't want to come, we cannot force and drag them. And I understand they have militants who are very sensitive and maybe may even go after the leader if he comes to the FATU network. But our doors are always open. We have nothing absolutely against them. Nothing. Our doors are open the way it is open to NPP, the way it is open to the government. It is open the same way to them. It is up to them, though. If they want to use the opportunity, they can come. If they don't want to, we cannot force them. But you can't be on the side. You don't want to come, and those who don't want to work with us, you would run and make stories. Oh, no, they're trying to silence them. No, but even before that, you never even want to work with us. You cannot say, I don't want you, but at the same time, other people cannot want you. that cannot even be possible. You don't trust us. You believe there are other media houses that would also push your agenda, because that's the same thing you're doing. If you believe that these are the ones that are pushing my agenda and those are the ones that you're sticking with, I am not blaming you for that. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's a free world. If you feel that your happiness lies with FATU CAMARA, work with FATU. If your happiness lies with Karaga at Star TV, work with Karaga. If your happiness lies with Lamin Jai at Jamano, work with Lamin Jai. It should not be complicated. But I cannot say I would not work with Lamin Jai, but everything that Lamin Jai is doing, I'll make sure that I fight him to the ground. Then that would be going against Islam and going against even Christianity if we are Christian. That's not fair. So let us at least be fair to each other. We don't have to like each other. I'm not looking for anybody to like me. I'm not sure I like everyone, but I try to be professional. When I meet any of the opposition members, I'm always very respectful to them. And I will continue to be respectful to them because that's how I was brought up. My parents did not bring me up to be disrespectful to anybody. No. Yes, an unfortunate situation happened when Baba Jah's interview. I understand that. It is unfortunate. But the way that it was handled, it was wrong. When a situation happened, before you take a decision, you wait for people to speak. When that interview happened, I was in the flight. I actually arrived that same day. I was sleeping. Because everyone knows how far it is from Dakar all the way to Florida. You go to New York. New York, we have to wait for a little bit after flying almost 9 hours from Dakar to New York. New York, 3-4 hour layover. Then another 2.5, 3 hour flight to Florida. I arrived in Florida and I went straight to bed. I was sleeping when I had calls that, oh, you don't know what is happening. Baba Jah is on Mohammed Dabo's program. I didn't even know I was tired. I was jet lagged. By the time I wake up, my friends were all against me. Everybody was cursing me out. They were insulting me. I mean, if you handle a situation like that, even if the person involved wants to apologize, now you're making it difficult because you're putting them in a weak situation. Now then you have other people who are like, okay, now these people are insulting you. We're going to watch and see what you're going to do. So that situation was not handled right. But that again does not mean that we are not here to work with UDP. We are here to work with them. So that's all I wanted to say. I guess the English is enough. I don't think I have to speak again in local languages.